What's up, Nada Nation and lovers of hockey? This is HockeyTown. I'm joined via technology with my homeboy, my Milton's finest, the carnivore comedian, Brian Smith. What's up, baby?
Oh, not much, just trying to avoid a heart
That's
attack.
great, buddy. We're also joined by the Chupacabra himself, Edmonton Oiler fanboy, Mr. Aaron Chupa. What's up, baby?
Oh, just cooking some food. That's pretty much my life at this moment. I'm doing the late afternoon to evening shift, so dinner for me is like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
That's exceptionally fun.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking. Oh, and also Barry has been wonderful with going from the gray zone to the red zone, and then 2 weeks later going back to the gray zone, and then 1 week later going to the red zone. So yeah, that's been fun.
Yeah.
Well, in Peel, now we're technically gray. We need red. Hopefully in 2 weeks we'll get red, and I can finally go back to work after being off for 3 months.
Does anybody else find it kind of funny going from like red to gray? Like gray's the bad one. Like
doesn't make
my
any
hair
sense.
being gray bad? Like I was always figured that red, like a redheaded stepchild. No one talks about being their kid with gray haired stepchild.
The danger zone is always red. Like the danger zone's always red. That should be the worst. Hot lava. Escape.
Actually, in fire, for a lot of places, I know for a fact Alberta, purple is the most extreme that you can get.
Oh, that's
eggplant.
Yeah, exactly.
You're fucked. That's what they're saying.
Exactly.
They're saying you're fucked.
The purple helmet is coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
Boys, people tuned in for hockey. Let's give them some hockey. As you guys know, I'm a big Toronto Leaf fan. Brian Smith is unfortunately a Montreal Canadiens fan. And Edmonton Oiler fanboy is a Calgary Flame. No, I'm just kidding. Aaron Chalupa is an Oilers fan. We got lots to talk about.
Dave was so mad about me being a fucking Flames fan more than like a Leafs
Flames
Canucks fan.
Sympathizer.
Go fuck yourself, Dave.
We have some like interesting chats on our group chat, but like, can we decide who Canada's least favorite hockey team really is? Because it's the Senators, right?
No, not at all.
Oh,
the Canucks. The Canucks.
Nah, I've never had beef with Vancouver though. Like
I would say depending. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
For me, it's Winnipeg. I fucking hate that city.
I hate Winnipeg. Winnipeg, Senators, and Winnipeg. Nut for me.
When are we doing the tour though, Brian? I've been selling tickets already.
Oh, that's all right, man. I'd rather visit Auschwitz. It's less depressing there.
Too soon?
Oh, not soon enough. Oh, dude, we can't handle Winnipeg. Winnipeg kind of sucks overall. Any listeners that anyone that's listening from Winnipeg, move. Just move. That's all you need to do. That's literally all you need to do.
Whoever edits this needs to add the audio clip from The Simpsons. Like, that's it. Back to Winnipeg.
Brian, you just don't like the city of Winnipeg?
Oh, it's the whole province of Manitoba. What does it have to offer? Like, couldn't we just lop that shit out? Couldn't we literally just like cut a line around Saskatchewan and Manitoba and just throw them away? And like, what are they really doing for Canada? That's the question.
See, my big hate is with the fan base / team, but mostly the fan base. First of all, gave birth to some ugly ass jerseys. This team came into the league relatively soon, and your jersey sucks, dude. Second, the fans are horrible. I hate the fan base. They can all go suck an egg. I'm out on
what did the fans do? They haven't thrown waffles at players yet. They don't boo their own defensemen.
I'm glad you asked that. I believe the year was 2015, and the Leafs were already pretty bad. And I think they were beating the Winnipeg Jets, and they started a chant of "fuck the Leafs."
Ooh,
that sounds like a good time with any team besides the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I mean, at least they didn't get kicked out for chanting that stuff.
Well,
Toronto Blue Jays.
if you're gonna start a chant, let's make this somewhat like tongue in cheek. Like go like how about warm up the bus? We don't want like fuck the Leafs. I mean, that's kind of what like that's a Philly thing, isn't it? Like the vulgarness in Vancouver or sorry, Winnipeg shouldn't be a thing.
Winnipeg is the Wisconsin of Canada without cheese.
Isn't it the Ohio?
I guess.
I feel like it'd be Ohio.
I guess Manitoba is the Wisconsin of Canada.
No.
Philly's Pennsylvania, by the way.
yeah, Philly's Pennsylvania. But like I remember seeing the joke about Line and Dubois being traded, which we'll talk about later, where it's like imagine being traded from the Manitoba of America to the Ohio of Canada. But in my honest opinion, the fucking Manitoba of the States is honestly North Dakota.
Yeah, it's dude, it's all the same shit. It's all the same shit. Wisconsin, Dakota,
Midwest stuff. All that Midwest,
they have the same accent too. Oh, how's it going, eh? Oh, not
Minneapolis. So like it's all the same.
Not wrong.
I've been to Fargo. I've been to Grand Rapids. It's the same as fucking Manitoba. It's flat. There's nobody around anywhere. And it's pretty fucking boring. Besides Grand Forks, their gigantic fucking hockey arena, which is incredible.
Yeah. You could literally lump that shit out. Saskatchewan, the only thing they have to offer is Saskatoon berries. Who the fuck cares about Saskatoon berries? Let's get rid of that too. All right,
we don't need it. Pie is good. I like the pie.
Quick Saskatoon story. I did a hair show in Saskatoon. We hired a whole bunch of models. 6 of our
Saskatoon models. They must have been great.
Did you see them coming like 30 miles away?
Here's what happened. 6 of them showed up drunk from the night before. We couldn't use any of them because they were just trashed. Then the local stylist that was there was like, "Don't give them a hard time. They're First Nations." I was like, "Oh, you guys can just say that out loud like that? You don't have to be in a closed room?" She's like, "No, like we get it." I'm like, "Holy fuck, man! I wasn't ready for that."
For the love of God, you can't make fun of anybody unless they're white.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, let's get into the puck, please. Why don't we do a quick recap on how our teams have been doing this season? I'll go last. Brian?
I'll go last.
It'll take you 2 sentences. You're like, Leafs.
Montreal obviously started the season incredibly strong. Stronger than I think any of us thought they would. They were leading the league in goals for a while there. I think they're still actually up there in goals for. They're not leading anymore because the scoring kind of slowed down, but they're still top half, which is nice.
Toffoli's a fucking man.
Yeah. Toffoli's a man. Armia looks good. We look like we won that Anderson trade with
totally.
fuck, who the fuck? Max Domi, who?
Yeah.
It looks great. Bergevin looks like a genius. Went on a 3-game losing skid. Had lost 5 of the past 7 or something when we decided, hey, let's can our coaches and go a whole new direction. I don't know how I feel about that. Julian's a good coach. But they're saying he lost the locker room. If that's the case, then I get that changes need to be made. So right now it's a kind of, we'll see, the next couple weeks are going to be very telling for the Canadians. I mean, they shit on the Jets, which was wonderful. Absolutely shit on them. Just took a big dump over Winnipeg, and I'm sure Winnipeg's used to being dumped on. So yeah, it felt good. Oh, we lost Aaron's video.
How did you feel about the firing?
As I said, man, if he lost the locker room, then it's a change you got to make, right?
But when he was he coaching in New York when he got fired? Before Montreal?
Dude, man, was it New York or was it Boston before Montreal?
One of the two. I was thinking it might have been Boston too, but I remember when he first got fired, Montreal the next day, fired their coach and hired him right away.
Yeah. He's a really good coach, but I can see how maybe a breath of fresh air would have been good. I think he was let's take a quick look and see. I think he was with the Bruins before. Yeah, he was with Bruins before.
I think Bergeron,
he was with Boston from 2007 all the way through the 16-17 season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you know that Claude Julien was the coach for like what was the team? Like, it was like one of the Bulldogs teams or whatever, and he coached a lot of the Oilers, like Raffi Torres, Jarrett Stoll, Sean Horikoff.
Damn.
Yeah, like a lot of those guys. So like he's been like he's had a presence in the league for a long fucking time.
He coached the Oshawa Generals, Windsor Spitfires, Salt Lake Golden Eagles. Man, he's oh whoops, no, that's his playing career. Yeah, look at him. Hey, he played one game for the Nordiques. Let's go. In 84-85, then 13 more the next year. Let's go. 13
Let's
games,
go,
25 PIMs, an assist.
For those who can't do, they teach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so he hung around he played in France for a while. No. That's so random. Good for him.
Fun fact, Paul McLean, the Jaunty Walrus coach from the Ottawa Senators, was born in France at an Air Force base. Yeah.
Oh, if it's at an Air Force base, it doesn't count.
Yes, those invisible borders don't count.
Yeah.
So, are you, Brian, do you feel like your team right now is where you expect them to be? I got to imagine you would have wanted them probably.
With how they started the season, expectations got increased. But at the same time, I'm a pessimist when it comes to the sports teams I cheer for, largely to do with these guys.
Yeah.
So, because of that, I always thought, kind of middle of the pack for the North Division. Do I think Winnipeg deserves to be there? Winnipeg's been pretty friggin' solid this year, but I don't know. Something about that team I just don't like. So I honestly think Edmonton passes Winnipeg before the end of the year, and then Montreal and Winnipeg are gutting it out for third in that division. I don't see.
I could see that.
I don't see Calgary, Vancouver, Ottawa pushing for fourth at all. I think that these four teams are pretty locked in. I think it would take a miracle for Calgary to push for fourth.
I think you're right.
They have no defense.
A miracle like Daryl Sutter?
Oh.
What year is it?
Yeah, that was weird. Okay, we'll get to that later. Aaron, you want to touch base on your oil?
Pardon me. Yeah, so right now they're winning 3-2 against Ottawa. Knock on wood. We're the only team that hasn't lost to the Senators in the North Division at this point.
Interesting stat.
Yeah, very much so. We'll hold on to anything that's positive in sound, and we'll deny everything that's negative. Like getting blanked in a series. My God, that was so frustrating. I watched the full game on Saturday last weekend.
You're talking about the Toronto-Edmonton series.
That is correct. I know I want to talk about that because might as well get you to blow your load. Because as we all know,
I'm already Randy from South Park.
As we all know, you blow your load, and you unload your gun. You don't go in with a loaded gun when you talk about your team or anything. So I figured that we'll get Anthony just coming everywhere with a spooky ghost ectoplasm, and then once it comes to the Leafs and him talking about them, then he's got a clear brain. Anyway, that was extremely frustrating. That's probably the most frustrated I've been with the Oilers this season since their start. Now, with their start, I don't give them too much shit because it's like, okay, number one, the fucking league rules for the goaltenders this year has been fucking bananas. Like where they could only have two on the squad, and then one's always on the taxi squad, which has to go through waivers, and that's just creating a complete goalie carousel of like, well, we can't have three goaltenders, so we got to put somebody on the fucking waivers, and then like that guy gets claimed, and then he gets claimed over here, and that guy gets claimed over there. Been very ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I felt really bad for Koskinen at the start of the season when he played like 12 games in a row. So you can't really blame him too much because like as soon as Smith came back in and Smith played like 2 or 3 games and then Koskinen came back, he had a .955 save percentage against Calgary, but Edmonton won like 7-1 against Calgary. It was like this is what happens when Koskinen actually has rest and plays like the whole 1A 1B tandem. So that was really good to see. But yeah, with the loss to in February, Edmonton only lost twice, I believe. They had like in their last 10 games, it was 8-2, or like in the last 14 games, it was 12-2 or some shit. So February was really kind. And then as soon as March hit, played the Leafs 3 times in a row. And it's just like, oh shit. I was thinking like maybe we'll like come out like 2 wins, 1 loss, or Toronto will come out 2 wins and Edmonton will lose once. Not 2 games back to back shutout, and then 1 game we get 1 goal. It's just like, holy fuck, this is embarrassing. Great job by the Leafs defense and shutting down the 2 of the most offensive players in the league, 2 of the top 5, I would say, because they both won Art Ross, back to back, as a team. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. Darnell Nurse is kicking ass. I think he should be a Norris candidate. If not, he should be discussed. He is the favorite out of Edmonton for defense. Props to Brian with the Habs with Jeff Petrie. Holy fuck, he's been kicking ass too.
Let's go.
But yeah, no, it's been really fun to watch the team. But ever since Toronto's happened, I've been kind of like, ooh, it would be really nice if McDavid and Draisaitl really started getting those multi-point games again, because getting shut out 2 games and then McDavid not having a game, having a point in the 3rd game, it was like, holy fuck, this isn't good. Especially with the fact that, pardon me, we've been having a lot of output from the secondary scoring, which has been great. So finally, the secondary scoring is clicking. They're producing. They're really complimenting the team. But now it's just like, okay, these 3 games of Toronto, McDavid and Draisaitl really quieted down. So now they're picking back up. McDavid had that 6 snipe against Calgary. Oh my God, beautiful. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think Edmonton will push for second. It would take, I don't know, the Leafs losing back-to-back games to Canucks, and then probably losing a whole series to Calgary, which might happen. And then I don't know. I don't know sure the Leafs schedule, but I could see the Oilers possibly catching the Leafs to make a big push for first. But I still will stick to. Pardon me. I will reaffirm Brian's projection that Edmonton will rebound and hold the second spot. I could see Edmonton sliding into first, but most likely it'll be Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Montreal.
I feel similar. I felt for the Oilers during that Leafs series because I didn't think the Leafs were gonna.
You felt them on your nipples?
Yeah, they felt amazing. I had a hard time believing that. I mean, if you told me Edmonton was going to score 1 goal, there's not a chance I would believe you that was going to be the case.
Yeah, in one period.
Yeah, but I didn't think Smith was going to have a good series. Well, I didn't think he was going to play all the games, but I thought he played really, really well. And the
defense was awful. The defense was very, very bad.
But I'll get into the Leafs. I mean, the Leafs do this all the time, and they've always done this. They'll play good teams hard, and then they'll play lower end teams like the Senators or the Canucks, and then they'll get the blown 4-5 goal lead against Ottawa will be the shit stain on the season for the Leafs if they don't do well in the playoffs. So that's a factor, but I don't know. I thought that the series with Montreal, where Montreal scored 2 goals in like the last 3 minutes of the game, that was a tough loss for the Leafs. But the Leafs, I mean, they had an incredible February, just like the Oilers. They lost 2 games all month in February. They had an incredible. Matthews went on a tear. I mean, if you want to know more about
Matthews,
the Leafs,
just unreal.
Yeah. I mean, and when he's on the game, the rest of the team's like, man, we got to catch up to this guy. But when he's in the shits, the rest of the team's like, fuck, what are we gonna do? So he's got this injury thing going on with the wrist. They think it's gonna be a thing all season. He's just gonna have to like live with it. But they have such a cushioning. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I wouldn't have been surprised if he took the whole like Thursday to Tuesday off, if he skipped that whole Vancouver series and just got ready for Winnipeg, which at least play a 3-game series with basically all this week. So,
I was really disappointed that Matthews couldn't play the whole series against Edmonton either. I'm a firm believer in, like, I don't like Matthews all that much, and I'm not a big Leafs fan, but I like seeing some of the best players play against other best players, and I like to see records be pushed or broken. So that would have been something else to see if Matthews was able to stay healthy all year and really try to push for like a 50-goal, 50-game, kind of projection, or even if he was able to surpass that in a shortened season. That'd been incredible, absolutely incredible.
I would love the Leafs to have a Rocket Richard candidate on their team, or even a winner. Like, I would just love to have some success with this team. I mean, this core has been together for 5 years now.
Yeah.
Let's get something going. Like, I feel like the Leafs need to be pushing boundaries. But when they lose to teams like Ottawa and Vancouver, it just hurts my nutsack. So I don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to be frustrating losing to Ottawa. Oh wait, I've been there too.
Yeah, the Ottawa loss was bad, but at least they rebound the next 2 games. The follow up game was a very 2-1 game or something like that. It was like a close game. The next game was a big blowout, so I didn't feel that bad. But that really kind of pushed the Leafs to start playing really hard. So
yeah,
we should try to get Claude Julien on for this podcast.
Hey, yeah.
Claude, tell us about your Ottawa experience.
Yeah.
What kind of cheese you got there, Aaron?
This is
Beamster?
Beamster?
Yes.
Yeah, from Costco. It's an aged Gouda.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And
it looked like
18 months. It's wonderful. It's a product of Holland.
Yeah.
Tara and I both had our own wedge, and we've been big fans. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Costco for cheese is a great spot to go.
I'm
not
good to know.
I highly recommend it as well. It's a great cheese. Nice. I recognized it, and I wanted to plug it.
Did.
That's how good it is.
Yeah.
Boys,
everybody, if you want to talk about cheese or bulk products, talk to Brian and I. Come listen to our podcast. Costco
Cheese Town.
Cheese Town. Everything.
The new Green Bay.
That's all we do is town. It's like
Town. It's Town.
Cheese Town.
Town podcast.
Broadcast out of Winnipeg, Manitoba.
The cheese town of Canada. The Wisconsin of Canada.
If you didn't know, we love our fucking cheese in Winnipeg. Why am I talking like I'm fucking New York when I'm in Winnipeg?
Boys, the season is almost halfway through.
Yes.
May I ask, do you guys have any big surprises, whether good or bad, on the season so far?
I start to think about this a lot. We'll get to my horrible prediction later from our first episode this season, but this is another one that's kind of got egg on my face a little bit. The Minnesota Wild have been surprisingly good.
Yep.
That being said, the Sharks, Ducks, and Coyotes are in that division, which is basically like free wins for the most part. And the Kings
haven't been that bad either, though.
Yeah, the Coyotes haven't been that bad. The Kings haven't been that bad.
The Kings have been a surprise. I think they've been playing very well. Drew Doughty's playing like he was banging hookers in Russia, like back in Sochi.
So the Wild surprised me. The fact that the Avalanche are not on top or fighting at the top of that division is nuts to me.
I agree.
But then again, the Golden Knights have played 22 games and only given up 47 goals.
It's banana. It's fucking
nuts.
Insane. Fleury is standing on his fucking head.
Yeah, it's making me feel horrible because they have no reason to bring Leonard back from his injury, and then when that like it's just like I'm sitting on my fantasy team. We only get 5 pickups all year because it's just an annual thing this year. It's a weird COVID year. And I'm like, fuck, do I drop Leonard? I guess I drop Leonard. Do I hold him? What do I do? There's no goalies. My other goalie is fucking Mackenzie Blackwood. Like, this is like the worst fucking goalie tandem in the history of fantasy. I feel like I look at I look at my forwards and D versus other teams. I'm like, oh, I'm outscoring everyone. Oh wait, no, my goalies just have a combined like 10% of the points of the next team above me. Like, it's absolutely horrible. So yeah. Anyways, that's my little rant about things that surprised me. I guess I can also just jump right on and say, who would have thought Eichel and Hall would be this bad together?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, this deserves its own category. Like surprises, and then it's Buffalo.
So bad.
So bad. Everything in Buffalo is bad.
It's just like Buffalo. Listen, I tried to have an outside take and think, hey, you know what? Buffalo looks pretty friggin' good.
On paper,
they look really good. They've been drafting a lot of defensemen recently. They should have a strong power play. You know, they got some goaltending question marks, but you know they can slowly address these things. And that was like, oh, Buffalo's problem is that they actually can't score goals with their top line. Like, that's absolutely baffling to me. Just absolutely baffling. 52 goals for the whole team in 23 games. That's just over 2 goals a game, and you have Hall and Eichel as your top line. Doesn't even matter who's there with them. Fucking put Anthony out there with him. Does not matter.
I'll get some points.
It's literally Hall and Eichel. Oh, I feel sick to my stomach. I look like it disgusts me. Buffalo must be where people go to die.
Okay.
All hope dies in Buffalo. It's like Winnipeg.
Brian, without looking, who do you think leads the Buffalo Sabres in goals?
Oh, fuck me.
Without looking.
Sam Reinhart?
Yeah.
I was going to guess maybe Stahl then.
Yeah. Like Stahl, Hall, Eichel. They're not even in the top 5.
Oh my God.
No, it was so funny because I've been listening. So I listened to TSN 1260, and it's out of Edmonton for radio, and they were talking about how they moved Eichel down to the second line, and they put Riley Sheehan because he played for Edmonton last year. And like, oh, look at Riley Sheehan getting into the first line, like filling in for Eichel, and he scored a goal in his like first shift playing in the first line center. It's like, could you imagine being Sheehan just like going down like the bench and like knocking out the gloves, and it's just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want Jack Hayes.
Like Eichel and Hall are 1 and 2 in assists.
Don't key my car, please.
So, if
Jeff Skinner scratched 3 games in a row, like this is fucking ridiculous.
If you
How bad does that Skinner contract look now?
Oh God, it looks worse than Louis Eriksson.
It looks almost as bad as Carey Price's contract. Almost as bad as Carey Price's contract.
Yeah, but listen, Carey Price is still a great player. Jeff Skinner is invisible right now.
Carey Price is still an okay player.
Okay. Listen, and Toronto's got some goaltending issues right now. We'll take Carey Price. You pay for half of his salary, and
but half of his salary is the cost of a goaltender for like 90% of the teams in the league.
Yeah, except for
that's the problem. So we'll just let Seattle take him, and we'll give them like a 6th round pick or something to take Carey Price off our hands.
Do you think that there's a chance that he leaves?
Absolutely, man. We got Jake Allen. Allen's looked better than Price. That bloated contract offer.
Yeah, because there's no pressure on him at all. He's just got to show up because he's got one of the best goaltenders in front of him.
Dude, man, this is nuts. It's nuts. This is like Henrik Lundqvist. Like, people rode Henrik to like the king. Listen, kings get old, all right? It happens.
And they get gout.
Yeah.
Empires crumble. This happens. People need to get off the Carey Price bandwagon. He was an exceptional goaltender, but he's not that anymore. He's not.
Do you think Carey Price is a starting goaltender for Team Canada?
No. No shot.
No.
No
You
shit.
know what? I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I know we're kind of stepping away from our teams and like projections and everything, but
Roberto
holy fuck.
Luongo.
Yeah. But like, think about when we were kids and like how many Canadian goalies we had to choose from
Oh my goodness, it was
compared to today, and like the quality of the the amount of goalies that we could choose from. Like Ed Belfour was the third string goalie during Salt Lake City,
oh
who
Brodeur.
who was in question of possibly being replaced by Sean Burke because Patrick Waugh stepped out. They're like, oh shit, okay, well we got Brodeur and Cujo, and then we'll have Belfour as the third string. In Nagano, it was Patrick Waugh, Curtis Joseph, Martin Brodeur. It's like, oh my god, like you could take any one of those guys and ride them to the fucking gold medal.
If you're picking Canadian goaltenders right now, though, who do you pick? You got to bring three goaltenders.
Thin. It's so thin.
I'm looking and I'm just like, okay, like people would probably say Binnington first, but
Binnington, yeah.
908 save percentage, 269 goals against average. It's not great. You know whose goals against average looks really good for Canadian goaltenders right now? Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah,
Marc-Andre Fleury looks amazing. Yeah,
that's who I'm fucking taking. Honestly,
yeah.
He has experience.
But we all know he cracks. So why would you?
Know who else? Mike Smith. Mike Smith's goals against average
He's played like 10 games.
Mike Smith's goals against average is fourth technically, and Jake Allen's fifth out Canadian goaltenders that qualify for the stat.
Well, we can't say that Fleury cracks because he was a savior for many serious games, and he took the Golden Knights all the way to the final. He never played international hockey for Team Canada in the Olympics, and I don't even know how many times he played in the World Championships. But like, he was always the third string guy. He never got one game in Vancouver. I always thought he should have been given like one game. Like, oh yeah, play against Switzerland. It's going to be a defensive game anyway. You're only going to get like 20 shots.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing the possible tandems for goaltending for Canada, and it was like, what was it? Carter Hart. I think they were still plugging Carey Price in there just for experience. And then Darcy Kemper or Binnington.
I was like, Darcy Kemper looks better than Binnington.
Yeah, Kemper looks really good. I would take Kemper on my team any day.
Yeah, Kemper is pretty solid. Like, it's just I look and this, it just all makes me sick. There's so many over 3 goals against average. It's horrible. Absolutely.
Russia's gonna have a stacked team in like 5 years for goaltending, even 3 years
if they're allowed to play.
Yeah, if they're allowed to play. Not this Olympics, the Olympics after. Like, it'll be Vasilevsky, fucking who are the Shesterkin and what's the one Shestorkin? There's the one from New York Islanders. There's the one from Washington, and there's
filtering
the one guy
by Russia right now. I'm the young Jamie of this podcast.
Islanders, Rangers, and Washington. Yeah, they're all like fucking incredible. And there's Vasilevsky to start the whole fucking team.
So like, right now, qualifying statistically, there's only 8 Russian goaltenders that qualify right now on the NHL.com stats for when I'm looking up stats. But like Vasilevsky, Varlamov's been great. Shesterkin, Kudabin's been Sorokin. He's been solid. I mean, the Islanders are a great defensive team, so always tough to say. Samsonov, Bobrovsky, and Georgiev for the Rangers.
You know who else has been playing really well for a Canadian goaltender? Cam Talbot.
Let's go Caledonia.
And
who does he play for?
Minnesota.
Oh shit.
Minnesota.
And you know who else I'd fuck around with a bit, just because? I'd fuck around with Devin Dubnyk. I know he's not playing so great with San Jose right now, but I think on any other team that was like competitive, he'd be pretty good.
Yo, I'd fuck around with Michael Hutchinson.
Would you?
Yeah, man. 203 goals against average in his 5 games. Let's go. 934 save percentage. He's cracked. Bring him in.
He was 4th on our charts.
Aaron muted because he's eating. Makes sense. I like it.
Yes. All right. Well, I just wanted to backtrack a bit. Like, Aaron,
yeah, sorry about that. I forgot the mute last time, so I want to apologize to everybody for not muting myself before finishing my food. Sorry, guys.
Did you have anything you wanted to add with surprises or anything that was kind of catching you this season?
I had one more, but let's hear what after Aaron's done.
Why don't you go? Because he looks like he's chewing.
The Blackhawks. The Blackhawks have been so much better than I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be like dumpster divers selling the team. Now I'm like, wait a second, they can compete. They can compete. So, and obviously anytime, and that's without Taves, and Taves still offers value to that team, right? So
you know what, they're not going to be competing for top spots coming into playoff time. They'll be a bottom half team, but I'm not going to want to face them in the first round at all. No. They're the type of team to upset,
especially Tampa, great team, but Tampa also sometimes has thrown in the first round in the playoffs before.
It has happened, yes.
Chicago could upset a favorite in a playoff round. Are you sure? Has that happened recently?
None of my memory.
Yeah, never.
All right, Aaron, you seem to have washed down all of the chunks of meat in your mouth. So
I love that Italian sausage from Costco. My God. Seriously, Brian, we should do a podcast on Costco things. I was going to say, I bought some Peace River honey at Costco. It's from Guy, which is a French community just east of Peace River, close to where I grew up. Ooh. Like 20 minutes or so, like that. So if you get a chance, it's $2 off, only $7.50. Hit it up. It's on that sale, I think all month.
I'm not gonna lie. Lately, I've just been a Metro guy, just because Metro is 2 minutes away from my house, and I can get in and get out in like 10 minutes. And I'm really, I'm buying 4 things. I'm buying meat, lamb. So I'm buying basically steak, lamb, potatoes, and broccoli. Because Danielle's only eating lamb, potatoes, broccoli, and I'm only eating steak. So
I remember you guys were talking about lamb there for a long time. Yeah. That's all right. Lamb's delicious.
It's fucking expensive.
Oh God, it's so goddamn expensive. And you guys should move to New Zealand. Get some. You know what? Get some. Actually, no, because you're on that carnivore diet. But for Danielle, like, get her some mint jelly. That goes really well with lamb. It's a New Zealand delicacy.
Yeah, if only she could have that, then we'd be good. If only Sabrina could have that kind of stuff, that would be great.
Yeah, exactly right. Around my house there, around the corner, is an Italian bakery, and my God, I fucking love that place. Anthony's probably raging right now because we're not talking about hockey.
Hockey.
Food Town, hockey. Coming soon.
Supporting local town. And Costco, everything Costco. We can talk about Costco for hours. Anyway, I'm pretty much on the same boat as Brian for like big surprises. Like I was gonna say, LA has been a big surprise in regards of teams that I thought were gonna be better. Avalanche is a big surprise. They're not doing that well right now. It could be a lot better. Even St. Louis, like I know they're okay in the standings right now, but there were times where I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
79 goals against. 79.
Yeah. Fucking brutal. Brutal. So forgive me. I think you guys are going to lose me here for a second, but I made some notes when I was at work about key points to bring up. And this was one of the things is like the surprises and whatnot. But LA has been a big surprise in a good way. Chicago, oh my God, man. Like it's been bananas. They are like goaltending. Who would have thought? Like there was one guy in my league, in my fantasy pool league, that had this guy drafted a while ago. And I was like, why did you pick this guy up? Like there's Malcolm Subban, there's this guy, and like, yeah, Crawford, but like Crawford was still on the team last year when he picked him up. So yeah, it was like, I'm like, wow, that's some good scouting on your part. You should actually be hired by a real team. Minnesota's been a big surprise. Florida has been a huge surprise. And I was chatting with you guys before in our group chat about how I was listening to the previous HockeyTown and laughing about how, you know, I was making the joke like, no, I like to talk about the Florida Panthers. I find them very interesting. You know what? They're pretty fucking interesting. Like they got Sergei Bobrovsky at a Carey Price contract right now, but their buyout with him is actually kind of doable. So I see this going one of two ways. They got Bobrovsky and Chris Driedger. So Driedger's been playing magnificent.
Yeah,
this
he's
year.
been playing really well.
Now he's a UFA at the end of the season, and listening to my radio stations there with TSN 1260, they've been really talking about how we could offer him like a good $3 million, $2.5 million contract, like 1 year, 2 year kind of thing. And Florida can't match it because what are they going to do? Like pay fucking $13 million for 2 goalies? Like they can't do that. They can't afford that.
Montreal's paying 15 for 2 right now.
Well, especially with like Florida's contracts and how they're expiring so quickly and everything for the young guys. So I'm really curious to see if, like if Florida might go the way about a buyout. I forget looking at. I think I put it in our group chat for Sports Town there, Anthony. But I think it was going to be like $2 million per year for the next 8 years or something like that. I can't remember, but it didn't seem that bad. I was quite surprised. I had to like look it up at a few different sites to make sure that it was that, but it might have been 2.5 million or something, which I still might do because is Bobrovsky going to get better? We don't know. We don't know for a fact. So that's kind of scary. But other than that, Aaron Ekblad's playing great. Good old Aaron wearing number 5, which is probably the best number ever. Vegas Golden Knights. Like I saw them doing pretty well, being in the top 3 in that division, but I did not see Fleury coming back. I thought with that sword, pitcher going through his back and like bleeding and everything. I was like, oh yeah, he's done. He's going to be trade bait at the end of the season or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Man, he's been incredible. He's been very, very incredible. Teams that I'm kind of surprised with that aren't doing any better. Philadelphia, they're currently out of a playoff spot, and the Penguins are just holding onto one right now. I thought the Islanders were going to be one of those teams that was kind of like bouncing back and forth between playoff spot and not. But Brian was good at calling that. Barry Trotz, he is a fucking unreal coach. He is very defensively sound, and he can make his goalies look like Vezina candidates every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really surprised with Philly with the caliber of their defensive core, their goaltending coming up, and their offense. How they're not on the inside looking, out, I guess. And then Pittsburgh with their new changes with Brian Burke and Ron Hextall coming in, that's been quite the roller coaster over there. They've been doing quite well, so that's good to see.
7-3 over their last 10.
Yeah, no, they've been doing quite well. So yeah, they're very good for them, and those are pretty much all my surprises so far. Anthony?
What about Dallas, real quick, just to throw it out for everyone?
Brian, you took the words right. I was so patient waiting for all you guys. I was like, no one's saying anything about Dallas, the defending Stanley Cup losers. Jesus. That was actually, I was going to say that Dallas.
COVID. So much COVID for them. I feel bad.
Texas, baby. I was going to say, I was going to say Dallas, what kind of happened with them. The shock for me was Florida playing incredibly well. Columbus kind of being like a middle of the pack team. I thought for sure they'd probably be low end, like low, high end.
I'm very curious about Tortorella, especially with these new trades. Like Roslovic was looking really good, being an Ohio boy, happy to be home. Line, he's really fallen off a cliff. And like Tortorella, man, I don't know.
Later, Torts.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I think they might try to flip him at the deadline.
Yeah? Who's going to take him?
Someone's going to...
Line A. I think
trade you my coach for your coach.
You're talking Line A, I imagine, right?
Yeah. I mean, somebody's going to want him. Like, I don't think...
That actually happened. Tortorella went to Vancouver, and Alain Vigneault went to New York Rangers.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Just end off of like my surprises, the Islanders being the top of the Metro or the East. I thought it was pretty impressive for them. I mean, halfway through the season at this point, of course, got to mention the Leafs because I wanted them to be in first place, but the fact that they're first in the league, that really got me. Hey, this is like 45 minutes in. I'm finally dropping to the first.
They're not first in points percentage. Tampa Bay has 2 or 3 games in hand, and they're going to fucking win those games.
Oh, Tampa's got 3 in hand. Yeah, I'll take it though for points. Right, I'll take it. It's okay. I'll live with that. And then the only other thing really I want to mention was you guys already mentioned it, Colorado kind of being not spectacular. So I think we all expected them after that run last year to be a huge force. McKinnon's out. I get, well, he's back in now, but he was out for a while. I get it.
Defensively, they've been okay. Like defensively, they've been top half, maybe even top 10. Offensively, they're middle of the pack to almost like they're like 17th or something in goals for, I think.
Yeah.
It's not great. Not great.
Not great at all.
No.
Okay, so we talked about Buffalo. Trades.
20th.
Talk a little trades.
20th. Jesus. That's horrible. I don't know. But anything specific that you want to talk about trade wise? Because I don't got much to delve into really. Like we kind of touched on the Line A trade, and you know.
Yeah. Not much to dive into that. That happened quite a while ago. I do feel bad for Winnipeg with having to wait for Dubois with the injury as well, and then like you really got to see like Roslovic and Line A kind of shine to certain points. You know, Line A got in a fight and then he got benched, and everyone's making a big deal about that. But I don't know. I still see Winnipeg kind of winning this in the long run because I do not see Patrick Line staying in Ohio at all.
No.
At all.
No.
Do you guys think that like, when I was mentioning trades in our thread there, I was kind of more so curious about like possible trades your team might be looking for, or do you think that your team won't be taking a risk because of the COVID restrictions? And like, if you trade with an American team, like you're out
14 days.
You're without a player for 2 weeks, man.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I'll say this. I really think the Leafs for my team, for the Leafs, I don't know exactly what they're talking about another top 6 winger, which just like it blows my mind because didn't we just trade 2 of those guys in the offseason? But I don't think the Leafs are really like missing that firepower. I don't really think they need another guy in the wing, but they feel like they do. I mean, that's what all the rumors are. I don't see it. I would like a sure up thing on and goaltending. Like I just feel like that's that's hurting Toronto the most right now is goaltending.
It's nuts that you say that because Toronto is actually per game 5th in the league in goals against. They're top 5 in goals against per.
I mean,
per game.
It's the first time that I can remember that they're actually playing responsible defensive hockey.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll take that, but that's probably because there's more emphasis on defensive play than necessary goaltending. Because I think for the immediate history, they've always depended on Anderson to stand on his head, which I think he's been subpar this season. I'm sure that he's battling something because he doesn't seem to be in the lineup all that much. And Jack Campbell kind of disappearing, being injured, and then re-injured, and then the Aaron Dell thing, and then Michael Hutchison have to be thrown into the fire. This guy was 4th on our depth charts. Wasn't expected to see a game all season, and I think he's got 3 or 4 games under him already. So I'm pretty shocked with that.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised you guys didn't throw David Ayres in a game. That's what I was calling for.
Yeah.
That's what I was calling for, like game 3 if they didn't put Freddie Anderson down. Like they're going to play David Ayres.
Yeah, I mean that would have been it would have been pretty funny. But what would happen is they'd put him in the game and he would lose the game, and he would still be burning the Leafs. So
imagine if he got a shutout though against Edmonton, like shut out McDavid and Draisaitl.
If they got that third shutout,
that's a mini series on HBO. That's not even a movie anymore. It's a mini series on HBO.
I do want you guys to go over what you think your teams need, but also I don't want to forget who's going to leave Buffalo this trade deadline. So whoever wants to go next on their team.
I just want to see Montreal really needs to consolidate what that third defensive pairing looks like. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's their biggest weakness is that third pairing. And right now, like I see them float around different players, but when you got Romanov and Victor Mete out there, and it's like, dude, both of those guys are young guys, and they're both still learning at the NHL level, and having them play together, just the amount of giveaways that I see and the amount of like dumb plays that I see happen, and it's just you need to pair them up with a veteran. You need to split them up, or
that is like Jake Gardner and Morgan Riley all over again.
yeah. Yeah, and it's like both of these guys have talent. Everyone knows both these guys are talented. So what do? Do you deal one of them maybe? See if you can add a big veteran potentially? Do you like if they deal one, it's gonna be Mede. They're gonna keep Romanov for sure. But or do you just ride it out? Like Montreal's third in the league in goals for per game, which even I didn't know that, but we are like I figured we were, top 10. I figured we were always like top 5 for a long time and then the last little bit, but then we shit on Winnipeg. So
Yeah.
I that always helps. 7 goals against Winnipeg definitely helps up that average a little bit, right? But we're also, I think if you're going to compete for a cup, you need to be top 10 in goals for and goals against per game. I think it's essential, and we're not there in the goals against. So I look at Carey Price's contract being a big problem because when you have a contract like that, you feel like he has to be the number one goalie. Jake Allen has never done anything in his career to prove that he's not a number one goalie, but he never gets a shot as a number one goalie. He's always either like 1A, 1B, never a true number one, or he's like this, he's just a fucking secondary goalie. He's just the second man. So I would like to see them start Allen a little bit more. Maybe Carey Price, maybe it strikes something in him. Maybe it changes things a bit. Maybe it lights a fire because he's not getting as many starts. I don't know. But I would like to see that, and I would like to see them shore up that third pairing. Because, like, other than that, Montreal looks great. Like, I'm happy. So
yeah, Montreal's looking really good. As one of my more favorite teams in this division, they are looking really good. Toffoli, man, what a pickup!
Yeah,
like he is worth every penny in that bargain.
Yeah.
Like incredible.
Yeah.
That snipe he had against Winnipeg this weekend,
clanger.
Beautiful. Just picking like, and like I know he's been like the Canuck killer, which has been hilarious. But like we haven't talked obviously since before the start of the season, but man, like that one goal he had where he did like a spin a rama backhand top cheddar, like that was obviously like very lucky on his part, but still looked incredibly planned. So
Yeah.
no, like Montreal is better than the record shows in my opinion, but the games they do lose, it's just a huge collapse.
Yeah.
Like everybody got the memo to dog fuck that game.
Yeah, so. It was like, hey, we're taking tonight off, guys. We're taking tonight off.
Yeah. So we'll see how she goes, but it'll be interesting to see. Is it Ducharme?
Oh, yeah. Go on.
It'll be interesting to see how he plays out the rest of the year, because
I do like him.
I do like Bergevin, and if
I like him as a coach.
If Ducharme takes a step in the wrong direction, steps in some merde, it could be the end for Bergevin, which could be bad.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people were talking about, getting Patrick Waugh in there, getting this guy.
No way. You think Patrick Waugh would come back to that franchise?
Well, that's been the big talk, is like if you could take a head coaching position for Montreal, that might be enough to entice him. Absolutely, I can see that happening big time.
Mm-hmm.
So I always kind of get eye rolling whenever it comes to like a head coach in Montreal, because it's like, they need to be able to speak the language. It's the only bilingual team in the entire league. And it does get a little annoying, especially with the captaincy as well. I remember people were criticizing Seth Koivu for not being able to speak French.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, he's from Scott Gomez was never the captain. It was Brian Giunta.
Oh, sorry, you're right. My bad.
Yeah, but he was learning French. He had his kids in French immersion school, which made it real nice with the media, and then he was learning it too. And like in 6 months, he was trying to speak as much French as possible, which I do give him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one thing that Montreal loves, is a French Canadian, and secondly is an American. They had Pacioretty as captain. They had freaking Brian Giunta. I think there was another American. Hal Gill was in there, and they loved him too. But yeah, I kind of
Mike
felt bad for
Komisarek, another
Mike
American,
Thomas, who was also in Toronto and Montreal
for a cup of coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just gets pardon me, gets kind of annoying, but at the same time, you do understand it is their heritage and everything too. So there should be, like Gerard Gallant. Like, oh my God, in my opinion, he'd be a coach that I'd hire almost immediately if he was available at the time. So
I'm sorry. Fuck heritage when it comes to winning. I could give two shits. Hitler could coach my team if we're gonna win. Okay. It does. I just want.
It's not heritage. It's not heritage. It's culture. It's culture.
Culture, yeah.
It's culture. But at the same time, why can't we hire more Swedish, Finnish, Czech, Russian coaches in the National Hockey League that are bilingual, speaking English and their native tongue, in the whole fucking league? Like,
because they're all spies. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. I mean, baseball does it. You see lots of Latino managers in baseball.
Mm.
Yeah, lots of.
That's why Brian hates baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why.
All right, Aaron. Did you wanna talk about what you think your team needs at the deadline?
It would be nice to pick up an extra D, just because Clefbaum is out, and you can never go without enough D defensemen in playoffs, because that seems to be the position that always wears down players the most. Ooh, Draisaitl just got rocked. Matthias Ekholm seems to be the crown jewel this trading season for trade deadline. I have a feeling he's going to end up in Boston, of all places. But dare to dream, Oiler fans, dare to dream. He actually has term as well, I believe. I think. So yeah, he'd be pretty incredible to pick up, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see Edmonton picking up a goalie this trade deadline. It doesn't make any sense to me. You're going to trade for a goalie. You're going to be able to have him for 2 weeks. Like, we just picked up Stalock on waivers from Minnesota, and we're not going to get him for like another 10 days.
Yeah.
So, or 8 days or whatever the fuck it is. So it's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's frustrating.
Trade deadline, I don't think it's going to happen so much for Canada. Maybe with some minor moves here and there. Like I was going to say for you, Anthony, maybe I could see a trade being in the mix for Jake Virtanen coming from Vancouver. Gritty, tenacious, kind of like Matthew.
Oh, you mean the guy who lit up the Leafs?
The Matthew Tkachuk ultralight. I think that could be a guy that Toronto could pick up for, like, I don't know, some bottom guy. Not Kerfoot. Kerfoot's too valuable, but somebody. Maybe Jimmy Vesey. Who knows? Just swap, because Vesey hasn't been lighting it up as other people have thought.
Well, he scored 3 goals in the last 3 games, so I don't know.
Well, now he's on the rise.
Yeah,
and like Virtanen, who's been hot all of a sudden, but for the entire season, he's been quite cold.
Yeah, VC's father actually works for the Toronto Maple Leafs as well, so I can't see them trading. I mean, anything's possible, but I can't see it, especially because he went out and got this guy. He signed this guy when they didn't have to. So, anyways, whatever. I'm on board for that.
Yeah, I don't really see a whole lot of pickups here and there. Like, I really think that people are just the media is blowing up the trade deadline because they need something to talk about.
Content.
Yeah, absolutely. But I really think it's going to be quiet for Canada. I really think it's going to be quiet for this North Division, just because of the risk of waiting so long. And if they're going to make a trade, it's going to be happening here very quick, because I believe the trade deadline is like April 8th or 14th or something like that. So it's going to happen sooner for Canada. And like that, I remember talking about this in HockeyTown, is that I was like, I think there's a bit of a disadvantage for Canadian teams because the availability for making a trade, and having it impact your team. Like, obviously we saw Dubois and Laine happen, but that was a very unique case. So,
do you think? Wait, actually, do you guys know when the season ends? Like, what month the season ends?
June.
No.
June. Yeah, I think it might be June, but I don't think Canada's borders are going to be open at that point anyway. So I still think they're going to be, if there is any trade, I can't imagine. I always think that there could be a trade between, U.S., Canada, whatever. But I mean, it depends if that team, that player, if you're talking like marquee player, then yeah, any teams, if you have the chance to pick up a Taylor Hall at the deadline or whatever, whomever, you're gonna make that deal and wait those 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you might play what, 6 games maybe. For a team like Toronto, Edmonton, and Montreal, 6 games, you're probably gonna win majority of those games. So you can go 6 games without having this stud in your lineup. And then when you obviously are doing well enough that when he gets inserted to the lineup, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, before we say goodbye, there's something I have to ask you. Today is International Women's Day, and I'm sure you guys have all done something wonderful for your ladies. But let me ask you, what have you done today for women's hockey? Have either of you guys watched a PWHL game or a...
What's women's hockey?
So what was that?
What's women's hockey? I'm sorry, I only watch it come Olympics. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's nothing against women's hockey, to be honest. I find it exciting. It's so low on my priority list.
I think it's a good talking point because it's a lot of buzz right now in the hockey landscape about teams affiliating with a women's team and kind of how promoting them, having them play in their arena, that kind of stuff. I've tried to watch one of these PWHL games, and I can't, dude. I don't think it's very good hockey. I mean, there's a couple highlights, but the highlights, I mean, I feel like my men's league team have more highlights than some of these. For this level, and these women are demanding like wages and that kind of stuff. You have to have a product that kind of goes hand in hand with, if you're going to get paid wages, like high wages, like quit your day job wages, you also have to have a product that supports that. And I just feel like that product's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one rule that'll make the game a lot better. Allow body checking.
Yeah,
allow it to be full
why don't they have that? Why?
I have no idea.
I don't get it either.
I've been meaning to ask around, and I have no idea. I think all female hockey players in any female league are required to wear neck protectors, which again, I have no idea why that's mandatory. Like, what's the difference between a male neck and a female neck? I have no idea. Talk to Richard Tednick or Clint Malarchuk.
Adam's apple, that's one thing that might be different.
Well, that's one difference, but like, yeah, and I think that would be making the male neck more susceptible.
Exactly,
to, yeah, serious damage to like the windpipe or the speaking. But yeah, I'd like to know why that's absolutely 100% mandatory.
Yeah, full cages is another thing.
And then no body checking. Like, they allow slap shots. They wear the same equipment in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't make enough sense why there's that much difference.
So I've never understood that, and it's really bothered me. And I think that would be a little bit better because, like, there's still scrums and there's still pushback and stuff. I just feel that body checking neutralizes your opponent a little bit more, and it doesn't, end anything seriously. Like, yeah, maybe there's a little less injury here and there, but they're still bumping each other. It's just like saying that NBA is not a contact league, or soccer isn't a contact sport.
Well, I think there's such a focus on women's hockey in Canada and the US that, like, on the international level, they can put together two strong teams that play exciting games. But then after that, it just, like, it falls apart. It's the same thing. Like, normally though, if you look at any hockey tournament, like World Hockey Championships, there's a good 5 or 6 teams where you're like, okay, this could be an interesting game. When you look at like the like women's hockey championships, it's always like, all right, there's 2, maybe the third team. Like Finland in the last one was
right.
Sweden won silver medal
2019
because they beat.
It was Finland.
No, but before that, was it Salt Lake? No, it wasn't Salt Lake. It was it wasn't Vancouver. Sochi.
Turin.
Was it Sochi?
Turin? Was it Turin?
Turin. Yes, that's the one I forgot about because we sucked at the men's gold medal
because it was in Italy.
We weren't even close. But yeah, Canada beat out Sweden to win the gold medal because Sweden beat the United States, which was just bananas. Everyone's like, this is a good thing for international hockey because Sweden got in there. But and that's true. Like, you have a few good players from Switzerland. You have Finland that looks pretty good, and you have Sweden that looks good. But they're not anywhere near the American or Canadian level.
So
nowhere near.
The 29 Women's World Hockey Championship, to put it in perspective, Team USA in their 4 group games, 27 goals for, 4 goals against. Canada, same group, 19 goals for, 5 goals against. Finland's in that group, 13-14. And then you have Russia and Switzerland, 320, 322. Like,
wow.
The drop off is just remarkable, and you wouldn't expect that for Russia, like with hockey. But then you're like, oh, Russia, women's hockey, maybe not a big focus of theirs. And the other group is also just kind of a joke because it's literally Czechs, Germany, Japan, Sweden, France, and literally like only one of them finished with a positive goal differential in that group, which was the Czech Republic. So when Japan and Germany are making the quarterfinals and they didn't even have a positive goal differential in their group, the games aren't exciting at that point, right? Like, you get to the quarterfinal games and you're like, okay, Japan and Germany got shut out, no surprise. And then like Russia beats Switzerland. Russia makes it in. Switzerland makes it in still. And then in the quarterfinals, and the U.S. beats Russia in the semifinals 8-0. That's not exciting, right? Like, the disparity's too big from an international level. And then, like, local level, to be honest, I haven't watched a game. Maybe I'm sexist. I don't know. Maybe it's internally. It's just...
I've seen the highlights. The highlights aren't good, though. And what the PWHL is doing right now, where the teams don't even have like an identity. They have a color and a city they play in, and that's it. They have they have ads on their helmets, all over their helmets. I get it. You need the funding, but I don't know if this presentation, it seems a little hard for me to attach myself to. But who knows? In 5-10 years, maybe it's something very, very competitive.
It's very soccer-like what they're doing. Like, teams just kind of named after the city they're in, and then like they may still have a nickname, but they don't have a big, team logo on their chest or anything like that. Yeah. It's just sponsors.
I mean, who knows? They might be ahead of their time. Really, it might make the most sense to do it that way. I mean, does TFC ever like have a blunder where people are like, oh yeah, the Toronto Reds, like everyone, you say TFC to anyone in the GTA.
Like, you have Manchester United, and they're known as the Red Devils.
Yeah,
right.
Like you have the
Aston Villa is known as the
teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the way it used to go, but way back in the day for a lot of teams. Like think about like the Montreal Maroons and the Toronto St. Pats and shit like that. But like, and then Toronto, like Toronto Maple Leafs, they're the blue shirts. Montreal Canadiens, the Habs. Colors, copper and blue. And you see that with like any kind of media that follows them as well. They have those kind of nicknames. I just want to throw in there one thing that really bothers me, and I think we talked about it before. When people are like, "Oh, there should be like, why aren't women getting paid the same amount as men in professional hockey?" It's because of market. Like that, it's as easy as that.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to see the games? No. Are you gonna? So you're shaming me that I don't go watch these games? Okay.
Supply and demand.
But who else? Who else is gonna go see the games? Like, that's the biggest thing. Is that if you want, this is a very unique thing. Yes, people should be paid the same and should not be discriminated for their sex, their race, all that kind of stuff. Except for Brian, who believes that they should be.
Wow. I'm never shedding it. Never shedding it.
The racist comedian.
Or if you're from Winnipeg, you shouldn't be making any money at all. We'll just pay you in coal. So
if you're in Winnipeg, just leave.
We'll give you some fuel to leave. I'll buy you $100 Petro Canada gas card.
Yeah.
Leave your city.
Yeah.
But it's But this is a unique thing. A company or organization can only pay so much if they're relying on people coming to see the games live and sponsorship. But sponsors can't stick their neck out if there's not money coming in.
Yeah.
Like it's just business. So you really got to watch, like, if the whole, could you imagine if in the PWHL if their top player is making as much money as Sam McDavid?
Yeah. First of all, their year one of this, or year whatever, if you want to count the Canadian Women's Hockey League, whatever they called it.
But that's coming back. It's coming back this coming year.
We're gonna see if they're coming back to finish their season, and they're gonna fold or something. But regardless of what that is, you're talking year 1, year 5. Like, NHL's been around for 100 years. Like, they have to build to something. You can't just pay these. Like, it's gonna be like the CFL. These guys make like these women are gonna make 30 or 40 grand, or maybe less. I don't know, to play. So yeah, they can quit their full-time gig, but they're not gonna be making dough.
Oh, look at CFL.
That's what I mean. That's a comparison.
Like the CFL compared to NFL. Like, it's fucking peanuts.
Not even.
It's peanuts.
CFL,
and if you compare
CFL
the
compared
NHL,
to the XFL,
and look at the greatest player ever, Wayne Gretzky. Do you know how much money he made in the fucking 80s and 90s? Like, before he got on with like New York or LA, like re-signing his new contract, he made fucking nothing. But
yeah, well,
he made
that's also his fault for signing like a 20-year contract too. But bad business on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But he made all his money outside of the rink.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. But like,
I would love to know how much money he made from Easton alone. Like, like really enforcing the aluminum stick, and like that LA jersey with that black and silver stick. Man, I wanted one of those so badly as a kid.
How high are you right now, Anthony?
On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being like Snoop Dogg.
You're 10?
No, no. I'll honestly maybe a 1.5, 2.
Okay, because I was curious about like the whole like 1 to 5. Like usually it's always like 1 to 10.
Okay, cool. That's 3 or 4. I don't know.
1 to 40.
Yeah, a scale of 1 to 7. I'm a 2.
On a scale of 1 to 420. That's what it should have been.
There you go. That's what it should have been.
On a scale of 1 to 3.14, I'm fucking pie.
Oh.
Like right now, I'm pretty horny. On a scale of 1 to 69, it's a 69.
Well, I can't think of any better way to end this podcast than talking about Brian's sex life.
I also wanted to add in, I know this is me ending on Brian's sex life, but I'm sure we could bring that up like very quickly. David Perron.
Very quickly.
David Perron is playing the fucking lights out.
No, that's relevant. That's relevant to my sex life. I agree.
Yeah, no, I just want to throw that in there because, like, David Perron, it's hard for him to find love every now and then. He's always like one of those, like, yeah, like he's never really on the top line, or like if he is, like no one really notices. But oh my God, has he been playing incredible this year? So good job there, Davey, ex-Oiler.
Thanks for listening.
Awesome. Take care, everyone.